Excellent afternoon. Excellent afternoon. Where are we? Oh, you all went for lunch before me and I came and finished before everybody. Please, can all, Chairman, can you please let them come and let's get started. Okay. I don't know, how many of us here have been a teacher or a coach? Anybody? You've had opportunity to teach or to coach in maybe this kind of setting. Is there anybody? If you do, you know that it's not good for people to leave empty seats when you're talking. It affects you. So please, I crave your indulgence, please. Can we just move forward and cover all the empty seats? Thank you very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. The faster we are, the faster we finish. So please, let's just move forward and fill up any empty seat in front of you that nobody is sitting on. Please just do well to occupy it so that it can help my concentration level. Okay, my name is Tonya, like Mr. Knight rightly pointed out. And I'm here this afternoon to be with you for a maximum of 2 hours. Who has attended my training session before? Anybody in the house? Yes, I remember you. Any other person? Okay, so I'm having 90% or more new people today. It's a pleasure. We're going to be very fast. My assignment today is very simple, and I'll make sure I move as fast as I can. Did you say this thing can move from here? Okay, fine, it's moving. So, our topic today said leading change and organizational renewal, which is a training with management and staff of NDDC Port Harcourt. So we're going to have this pre-training exercise. I think you can have a screenshot of some of these slides. They may be very useful to you. And if you have an opportunity of getting the entire thing, that will be better. So today we're going to do just very simple exercise for me, which will be submitted to a link I will give to us at the end of the section. So I need to know your name, your department, and the job title in the company. You know, when we finish trainings like this, we always do a report based on feedback that we get from the attendees. So please take it seriously. Write down your company's vision, the mission statement, and core values. What is your own personal vision, mission statement, and core values? These are very important for leadership. Was there any meeting held between management and staff effectively communicating the objective of this meeting and the expectations thereof before today? Any such? Did you have such meetings? Any meeting at all? So how did they effectively communicate this training to us? Because I heard somebody saying, I just got to the office, I remember, they say you're going for training. I overheard somebody saying that. How did they management communicate this meeting to you? Because these are a memo. Okay. Any reminder? Okay, fine. It's good to know. Then, if yes, summarize the aims and objectives of the meeting. Did they say anything like that? What they expect you to do, or what you expected at the meeting, or what they expect from you after the meeting? Was there anything like that? Any communication like that? So at the end of the day, we should be able to answer these questions, because we're all leaders here. And if you cannot lead yourself, leadership is about influence. And influence starts with self. What is this lady that the late Akunyili said that the change that you desire starts from you. So if you're going to lead change in an organization, especially a public sector organization where you work, you must start with yourself. And that's why it's important to know your personal vision, mission, and core values, and that of your organization, because if they are not in line or in tune or in sync, you find out that you may not be putting in your best, or you may not be building the best career in the organization. You're just there maybe because of the money. There's no work, so let's just hang in there. But that's not all about life. So in life, you must have your personal vision, your personal mission, and your core values that guides you, your personal governance policies that guide you as a person. What makes you who you are? What helps you to be who you are? What makes you that in the midst of all the obstacles, you keep moving? Something just keeps motivating you. So having said that, you find out that in leadership or in leading change, if there is no such a thing, that your personal mission or vision or core values are clashing with that of the organization, there will be a problem. You may never be able to lead well because you'll be torn apart in between the two. I was feeling good there, but here that doesn't seem this place is so hot, so I might need to come down from this place. So having said that, we will run fast today. We'll have so much to cover. So today, after this training, we'll be able to have a very good overview about change, then what forces organizations to change, the type of change we can see, change management perspective, state of change, stakeholders to change management, and why people resist change. All these are what we're going to cover today, so I'll be very, very fast. We'll equally see the consequences of not managing the people side of change. Then we'll see the common traps to avoid in leading change. We'll talk about the probing questions we need to ask in the change process. We equally think of challenges in leading change. Then we have different strategies in leading change or change management, but we'll just talk about one or two of them today for want of time. Then we'll talk about the plot strategy to change. We'll talk about the managing individual change with ADKAR model. We'll talk about the key components of leadership development, key components of leading change, and strategies for enhancing leadership development, change management checklist, and we'll conclude. So, change overview. So, research has shown that like about 70% change attempts fail. That's what research over the period has said. And it has equally said that 100% of successful change initiatives had a good technical solution. Why 98% of change initiatives that failed also had a good technical solution? So what now happened? Remember, 100% has very good technical solution. 98% of those that equally failed had very good technical solution. So what now happened? Can somebody attempt to answer that question? What do you think that happened, that you have all it takes to make change, yet these people had 100% success, the other people failed? Can anybody attempt? What do you think would have gone wrong? We are talking about change, and we know that change is constant, and most of us here, I'm sure, is there anybody below 40 in this hall? Anybody below 40? So we have seen things. We have worked in organizations, even if it's not NDDC, we've worked in other places. You have taken a lot of challenges that should be able to answer that question for us, but we'll answer that question later. And nearly all projects require humans to do work differently than before, but humans always don't like to do so. Why? Change management is critical to project management because projects are intended to create changes. Then when you've finished change, you're finished. These are some of the overviews we need to look at this afternoon. Then the next thing we need to talk about that public service organizations play a critical role in ensuring the well-being and advancement of societies. So effective leadership is therefore fundamental to navigating complex challenges, fostering innovations, and improving service delivery in any organization. That's just an overview we're running through before we get to the main thing. Then we must understand too that leading change and organizational renewal focus on equipping individuals with the necessary skills, knowledge, and values to drive transformation and ensure sustainable progress. What am I saying? You know, while 98% failed, despite the fact that they had all the technical solutions that they needed, because of the human aspect of it. If you look at in management, managing human resources is the most difficult aspect of management. Who is the witness in the house? Who can attest to that? That managing human resources is the most difficult aspect of management. Is anybody concurring to that? Because there are no two human beings that are the same. As I'm talking now, as we are all listening to me now, people are decoding and interpreting all I'm saying from different perspectives. You see why Chairman didn't want us to eat before this training? Because you know that many people are going to start sleeping. So can we do a little exercise? We're supposed to have taken break. Can we just get up and stretch our legs? Just, what is that they used to sing when we were in nursery school? Please, can we just for purpose of connecting with me? Because I'm seeing a lot of people dozing. Yes, yeah, just 1 minute exercise. If you want to jump, jump. If you want to stretch your hand, stretch. If you want to raise your leg, raise. 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute is almost gone. Okay. And if you're feeling sleepy, do well to get up and make sure you get something out of this session. Leading change and organizational renewal. That's what we're talking about. So having said that, human capital development or leading change or leading human beings are the most difficult aspect of change that we can think of. So having said, let's define what is change management. Change management says that it is defining and instilling new values, attitudes, norms, and behaviors within an organization that support new ways of doing work and overcome resistance to change. So, you're going to change your culture. That's what change is all about. It has to do with the organizational culture, the normal way you know. There are some people that have been in organizations for like 5 years, 10 years, and somebody just comes from nowhere and say, look, we need to change the way we do these things. You will see so much resistance because they've gotten so used to doing it that way. So who are you to come from nowhere? So before you can achieve that kind of change, you must have done so many things to make them accept what you're saying. And that's what we're talking about today. How do you lead change and renewal of organizations? So that is number one definition. Another definition says that change management is building consensus among customers and stakeholders on specific change designed to better meet their needs. You're talking about customer or stakeholders. It's not about everybody in the system. You need to get a consensus. That is change management. Then another school of thought defines as planning, testing, and implementing all aspects of the transition from one organizational structure or business process to another. These are all change defined. Let's just watch this, how many minutes video clip, just 1 or 2 minutes video clips or so, and see what change can do to a process or what it can do in an organization. And I hope you get something out of it. So please, can you play this video? I hope I'm not blocking anybody, and let me come down and take a little bit of AC because this place is hot. Go ahead, operator.
And change tires. But Holland comes in for a pit stop. Time to refuel and change tires. Lou Moore himself changes the tires. Only 4 crew members, including the driver, are allowed to work on the car. It's a tense time. Holland stays in his seat, anxious to get away. Let's watch. Tires are changed at last. A crewman polishes the windshield as Holland moves away just 67 seconds after he stopped.
Hello? Can somebody tell us what actually happened there? Can somebody just speak to me?
Changing of tires on racing vehicles. Those days, the earlier days and 2013. Now, the earlier one was more of a manual system of changing. This is more faster than, but I think today is even faster. It takes seconds to change those tires now.
Okay, that's fine. At least we're able to get what we're trying to say. But you know that when you bring such innovations today that people are still resisting to change. I can remember when we were talking about online payments. I'm a Catholic and I belong to the Corpus Christi Cathedral here. So sometime I got involved in the accounting, is it department or whatever for the diocese to reconcile accounts that the remittances of the parishes to the diocese. So when we got there, after all said and done, we found out that that account can only be reconciled in heaven. So I now said, as a professional, I called the bishop, I said, my Lord, the only way to get out of this mess or cobweb is to go digital. Let there be online payment and remittance between the parish and the diocese so that I can easily track, you know, payments and all that. That was before COVID. It's like, he said, okay, I should come to their retreat. They normally do a quarterly retreat. That I should come to their retreat and explain to the priests that will be the operators what I meant. I came. He never saw the brightness of the day till today. So when COVID came, of course, right now every church is online. If you don't want to get a tithe and offering, you're the one shortchanging yourself by not having an online payment or POS or whatever, or even publish your account numbers on the screen during offering. And that's what change can do, because COVID had to force people to change by force. But you don't need anybody to force you to change, because there's so much problems. Change is something that is constant. Change is something that is necessary because of technological advancement and so many. So what forces organizations to change most times is because there is change in customers' demand. You see, customers are so demanding these days that because of digital nature of the marketplace, they are seeing every body, or they have different options. So if you say you will not change, you'll be the one losing business or even run yourself out of business. So customers' demand, or change in customers' demand, is what is forcing many organizations to change. Then market changes. A lot of markets are changing for one reason or the other. So it's forcing organizations to change. And we have a change in input costs and supply availability. There's so much cost now that everybody is thinking of how to cut down on costs so that they can remain profitable. So these are some of the things that have been causing organizations to change in the recent time. Then enforced legislation change. There are so many legislations that are coming up that affect your business, and you don't have any choice but to align. If not, you'll be sanctioned. Then we have changes from mergers and acquisition. If you look at globally, a lot of companies are being acquired or merging for better global visibility and expansion and profitability. We equally have another reason why organizations are changing because of technological advancement, which is part of what I just gave an instance today. I don't know how many people that say carry cash that much, but before we felt in Nigeria we couldn't do without cash. Like before COVID, you tell people when we travel abroad, we see, we're using, is a cashless. You say, can this thing ever work in Nigeria? That was the impression. But today, even the pepper seller, Ogo seller in the market, everybody's taking POS. In short, we're even buying the Naira from POS people. Am I not saying the real thing? We buy our currency these days because of cashless. We don't even see the cash anymore. So if you must do cash transaction, it's either you go and queue up in the bank, and or you buy from, many people find it more convenient to buy from POS people, because let them go and do the suffering to source for the cash. You just collect and pay your commission, and that's what technological advancements can cause people to change. So many things are changing, and they'll continue to change. But how positioned are we as leaders? How positioned are we? Like, I'm a cryptocurrency enthusiast. You find out that everything in the normal world, real world assets are being transferred to digital assets through tokenization. So as a person that is enlightened in the society, how much do you know about such things that are going on right now? The way we do, traditional ways of doing things are being disrupted every day. The way you do, you learn, the way you bank, everything is being disrupted. Very soon, even lawyers and doctors will not have AI is taking over every. Do you understand? So for those that even saying they want to go and study medicine in the university, I wonder why I should go and spend 7 years, because AI is taking job out of these people. So whatever you're doing now, you must position yourself that as a leader, what do I do to be in tune with the change that is going on globally? So that's what we're talking about today. So primary reasons for applying change management is it increases profitability, probability of project success. Whatever you're doing, if you're able to embrace change, the likelihood for you to succeed is more than those that are not embracing change. Then it manage employees resistant to change. If you're able to embrace change, you'll be able to manage your staff to accept the change. Then it helps to build change competency in organization. So if you want your people to be very competent, you must be prone to change. Then we have operational process change, we have technological change, and we have cultural change as type of changes. So where we are in public sector, most times cultural change is a major issue. technical, operational and cultural changes. Even technological change is a problem because of the mindset of the people. So we're here today to open our mindsets. The other day I had a research sometime that said that our human brain can be compared to 2.5 million gigabytes capacity of a computer. 2.5 million. So you can imagine how much this brain can take. But most times we have limiting beliefs that make us, because of our mindset, we have a fixed mindset that make us have the limiting beliefs that makes us think that we can't do certain things. But it's not true. The growth mindset says that as long as you're ready to learn, that the brain is very malleable to accept 2.5 million gigabyte capacity. So you find out that we have so much capacity to learn, but most times our limiting beliefs and our mindsets are the things that keep us where we are. We are not able to change because we have limited ourselves. So change management perspective, there is an individual perspective to change management and there's an organizational perspective to change management. Remember I said the change you desire or you expect will start from you. That is the individual perspective. So understanding how one person makes a change successfully. And remember that the organizational perspective is a collection of individual perspective. Because we are like in a chain, and just like you're from different departments, you are like in a chain. And each department is as important as all the other departments in the chain. So whereby maybe there are 5 or 6 departments, and maybe 4 departments that accepted change and decided to do things the way the organization has strategically said that we need to do this change setting process. And 2 out of that 6 refuses to align, it will still affect your performance. So that's why the everybody, organizational perspective said the tool that project teams that managers have to support the people side of change. And who drives the change is the people. So it's not all about technical or technical issues or technical facilities. Human beings are the ones to drive the change. So let's know that individuals and organizations are involved in this change we are talking about. And there are so many states of change. For you to know or lead well in making change, you must understand where you are today. You must understand your current status. If you don't understand your current status, you wouldn't know where you're going or how to implement the change. So the states of change, you must know that there's a current status or current state, and between the current state and the future state where you want to be, there is a transition, there's a process. And most times people don't want to go through that transition or through that process, but it's very, very necessary. Very, very necessary. So the current state says how things are done today. That's how are you doing things in your organization. Then the transition says how to move from current to future. And the future says how things will be done tomorrow or in the future. So the major problem is always in the transition state. A lot of people don't want to transit. They either want to remain where they are or they want to go to the next without putting in the works. And it's not possible. So we have to understand all these things, that for us to lead change, we must understand that there are different states of change, the transition and the future from current. So in reality, they are both organizational and individual future states. And collective of individual future states is what gives you the organizational future states. Having said that, we'll run quickly. What I just said is just what is being explained here, that the focus of change management is helping individuals make their transitions. So it's a personal thing, it's a personal risk. No matter how we come and talk to all of us here, from now till next month, if you decide within yourself that you will not change, there's nothing anybody can do. So that change is something you have to resolve within you. That it's time to change, because if you don't change, your own vision will be affected, your mission will be affected, your core value will be affected, and that of the organization will be affected. I want to paint a better picture that can drive this message home. It's just like somebody wants to go to medical school to pass MB. I think third MB is the first popular medical exam. I think it's third MB. So you go to school and you want to be a medical doctor. The future state or the end result is to become a medical doctor. But you and I know that if you do not know how to study, this one is not cram work. Medicine, there's no cramming work in medicine. You must study and understand the processes. Because the way they will ask you questions and not, if you know, biology is real. It's not an abstract course that you can paint some pictures, maybe storytelling. This is the real body is being talked about, and everybody knows it. So it's either you're saying the right thing or you're saying the wrong thing. So the person must study and make sure you put in the work before you can become a medical doctor. That's how change is. If you want to change and you don't want to put in the work, it's not possible. It's not possible. So change management drives project success by supporting individual transitions that are required by organizations for the change to happen. So who are those that are involved in change, the stakeholders in change? All of us that are seated here, everybody is involved, from the security man in the office, to the cleaner, to the managing director, to departmental heads, to officers in the, everybody is involved in the change. So let's not think that there are some people that should be left out. No, if you leave anybody out, you run into problems. For insecurity that is all over the world now, you can't tell me that you're thinking about making a change in your security process and you're not carrying your security men along at the gates. They are the first port of call. Anybody that breaches the security protocol, they will get into the office. Is it not? So it's important that as you're planning, you must involve all of them. That's why I was asking, how was this meeting communicated? Because everybody needs to hear what you need to do to change or to imbibe the change that the organization has strategically positioned itself to do in the recent time. So everybody from the executive management to middle management to low management, everybody's involved. So change is what everybody needs to be part of in an organization. And why do people resist change? Why do people resist change? Most time people resist change. Why? Some human fears. People resist change for loss of job. They resist change for loss of social status. They resist change for loss of privileges. They resist change for loss of control. And they resist change for general fear of the unknown, you know. Then the second reason is the need to learn new things or new tools or new skills. Everybody wants to be in their comfort zone. Nobody wants to make a change. But if you don't make that change, you cannot advance. It's all staring us to the face today. So many issues. If we start every sector, if we want to talk about finance, medicine. Okay, the other day, a friend of mine told me she was in the clinic for one of the eye clinics in GRA that does laser surgery, right? So the next thing I called her on Monday, I said, how far? She said they were taking her vitals. I thought she just went for pre-examination to get appointment. She told me that within 15 minutes, so she had done the surgery and she left home immediately. And that's where we are. This is cataract. We used to travel to Calabar or go to one hospital in Imo State. The best, they say where the white people are, you know, take your, if you don't have aged parents, you not understand. People like us that went through that stuff. We know all the hospitals that had the best equipment to do what. You understand? They are here in Port Harcourt. I have a lot. I think I've seen about 3 hospitals that have laser centers for eye surgery and stuff like that. So the change is here. And the earlier we embrace it, the better. Then the next thing that makes people to be afraid of change is leaving one's comfort zone. It's really tough because, you see, like there are some chief executives. The next thing you hear that they become doctor or professor. You'll be wondering, when did this person study? In the night when you're sleeping, these people are doing online courses to upscale themselves. Let's not just wait only when the organization where we work put up programs like this for us to try to upscale ourselves. Remember that the 80-20 rule, that what we learn in university is only 20%. Every other thing you need for personal development is 80, and it has to be done by you. And that's why you see some people, they never progress in life, while others are progressing, because those ones are sitting and just waiting for the 20%, what they learned from school. They are not ready to put extra work to develop themselves. So that way, as the world is changing, you are not changing. You keep complaining because you don't want to put in the work. So consequences of not managing the people side of change. Remember we said that why 98% failed is because of the people's aspect of that change. They didn't manage their people well. And whenever you don't manage your people well, what do you get? Lower productivity. You get passive resistance. Some will not tell you they will not do what you want them to do to change, but you will be seeing it in their behavior. You can feel it from no body language. Get it from their body language. They've not told you no because they don't want to be rude, or they don't want to be seen to be fighting the system, but their action will show you that this person has not imbibed this change. So you'll be having passive resistance. Then you see some that will be actively resistant to it. People that are bold enough to say, oh God, I know if you do this, Do you understand? And maybe you look at the power that brought the person, power behind the person in the organization, there's nothing you can do. So these are some of the things. But if we're able to carry your team along from day one and let them buy into the change you want to make, I tell you honestly, you will have a free ride. So some people are disinterested in the current or the future state, so they couldn't be bothered. There are people like that don't care. They tell you nothing works in this country. Anything you do, you can't change anything. There are people like that. So when you're talking about change, they are not listening. Then some people argue about the need for change. They'll tell you there is no need. And they're saying all this thing because of their limitation in knowledge, because of their limiting beliefs. Because if they know better, they wouldn't be at the point they are, but because they don't know better. But you that you want to lead the change, the onus is on you to go extra mile to make sure that there is a change. I don't know, there's a staff I had some time. I don't know whether I shared this story the last time I took a section with you, but for the benefit of 90% of us that were not here. I had a colleague and a staff who was in my department when I was in a bank. And when I came to that bank, the bank suddenly changed their policy that if any credit you're managing, any account you're managing, the credit goes bad, that they're going to be deducting 50% of your salary until the person pays down or your salary pays down the loan. And this guy was managing one of these distributive clients. These people that do Nigerian breweries, that is drinks. Their turnover can be very high, but most of them are very fraudulent business people, because of the high turnover and the nature of the business. So this particular guy was managing one of these customers. And remember that before credit is approved, account officer will start the process, manager will sign, zonal manager will sign, risk manager will sign in Lagos, some ED will even sign. That one, ED and MD, of course, they will sign because of the volume of the transaction. At the end of the day, this thing turned bad. And they turned around to say they will be debiting that guy's salary 50% every month. To me, it was quite unfair, because if all of you agreed to approve the project, why would you punish one person? Do you understand? That is my own argument as a supervisor, but who want you to talk that time now? So the guy, every day, will gather other staff and be abusing the management and telling them how useless that organization was. Every day as he comes, well, that was what he was, because he was very bitter. And he had every reason to be bitter. And I called him and said, come, this thing you're doing, you will compound your problem because they may sack you. Why don't you go and look for a job in another bank and leave this toxic place? Because the place has become toxic. There's no way that guy will be happy, or would have been happy staying there. Every month you see your salary for offense you didn't commit, slashed into 2. For how long? For a transaction was over 200 million. So I said, come. He was not listening to me, and now said, who is the closest person to this guy? He was very close to a reverend father I knew. I took them out. I invited them out, the Reverend Father and the guy. Then Blue Elephant was one of the best Italian restaurants in town. I don't know who knows Blue Elephant in those days. So I took them out to Blue at my own expense, so as a supervisor. We went out after eating. I now say, Father, that I brought you to help me talk to AGK. This is this and this is what is happening in the organization, and I believe that it will backfire, and it's better that he leaves before he's sacked. Because once disengagement is coming in, you will see the sign, but at times many of us are very ignorant that will even refuse to notice that this thing may lead to my sack. You understand what I'm saying? So eventually the priest said, yes, what Storia is saying is the right thing. You better go look for work. Let it now be that your new people, you tell them the story. If they decide to buy over, they let them negotiate with the bank and see how they can. If they are reasonable enough, they will tell the bank that they had no right to be doing that, which was the right thing to do. So the guy got a job and left. I can't even remember how they sorted it out, but I know he didn't carry that debt to the new bank where he went to. And after a year or two, he said, Mama T, what are you still doing in that bank? Come here, these people are better, you know. These people are more humane and more friendly. Leave those people, those wicked people, come. This place, they are looking for people like you. I'm telling you a true life story. I said, no, Ejike, I don't. Say, come. He kept disturbing me until I went for interview in the bank. And I left the bank. I left where we were and joined him. Even as a higher, you know, as a branch manager, then he was still an officer. So what am I saying? You see, if you're not able to, and before he left, he stopped calling those early morning meetings he used to call. He now started addressing, you understand what at least he started working like a normal staff before he left, because I was able to talk him out of where he was, in bitterness that he was carrying, and at the end of the day, I could achieve, because he was working directly with me, he was affecting my own performance. So I was able to at least still work with him, get some results from him before he left the bank. So you, the leader, should be able to find out what is happening amongst your staff, among your team. Let it not just be work. You just come every day, all you're interested is results. Oh, you guys are not performing, you're not doing. Can you find out that this my staff that used to smile so much, how come she's suddenly not, you don't see any smiles on his or her face anymore? Because a lot of people are passing through stuff, especially domestic violence. Both for men and women. It's not only women that are being abused, though. Men are equally being abused. So when I'm talking about the domestic violence, don't think I'm beginning to do women, what is it called? Do you understand? I'm bringing Beijing. There are some men that are truly very abusive. Abusive may not even be by word of mouth. Just yesterday, one of my relations that is in UK, I said, oh boy, I hope, because we buried the dad over in December, he traveled out. I said, oh, but I hope you are casting some rest. Say, rest. Say, my sister, I tell you what I'm passing through. I said, what? He said the wife will be in the house, she will be hungry, and the children will be hungry, she will not cook. Have you heard? Is that not a domestic violence? You cannot feed yourself, you cannot feed your children. His own, he said he has lived. I said, what are you talking? He said this is what he has lived with for years, that, of course, in Nigeria, he goes out, he doesn't mind. You know love now. He doesn't mind, he can go and eat out. But this is what he's been dealing with since he got married. So the late dad told him that, look, this woman has given you 4 boys. Go and find a girlfriend or something and be happy. You know, to the extent that your dad can give you that kind of ad. So what am I saying? Anybody can be passing through anything domestically that if you don't know how to manage it, it will affect your performance on the job. So let's try and be more human when we are dealing with our subordinates, or even our supervisors. There are some that can't even open up to tell you what they are passing through. But you see, just like in the book of Kings, where the slave girl told the master to go and get the prophet Naaman. It was not the slave girl that gave him advice that he should go and get solution from the prophet. So anybody can advise anybody. So don't feel too big and being up there that you cannot give people opportunity to assess you. Many supervisors are not accessible. So don't place yourself at that level that they can easily access you to even alert you when there are dangers. There are some that will see some documents, some secretaries or PAs, that will be injurious to you as a senior person. But because of how you carry your shoulder and how harsh you on them, they can't even alert you to say, "Oga, I see something." Oh. As a marketer all my life and as ex-banker, if there was something banking did for me, it helped to broaden my scope in relating with people. Though I'm naturally a friendly person, but if you're a bank manager and you think it is only the MD of the company that you need to get your job done, you're wasting your time. You're a big liar. If I enter any organization today, from the security man to the driver of the man to the PO of the man, this my phone had over 10,000 numbers. I collect everybody. Because these are the people you go, "Oh boy, how far now? Oga don't come." "Yes, madam, come now, Oga day." The man may not pick your call, but this man has told you that the Oga, you block the man there. Do you understand? So everybody is important. Everybody is important. There are so many things that have happened to big people, that is the people, small people. And let me tell you honestly, in a banking institution, the MD of the bank is the last to tell you that the bank will be the last to tell you that his bank has problem. You understand what I'm saying? Because he has reached the peak of his career and he will try to protect his organization. But those small people in the organization will say, "Oh, guy, Bill, I said this place, they shake, you can't collect your money." I've worked in a different bank before. Do you understand? So everybody is important. When you go, I'm saying this because in public service in Nigeria, especially NDDC and all these oil servicing companies, the way people carry yourself, most times, even your security men at the gate, the way they'll be talking to people and be treating people as if that is the end of the world. Tomorrow they'll come and meet you and see they'll still need you, because you can't have it all. Today you're in your office, tomorrow you come to my office to require something from me. So we all need ourselves. So for the change we are looking for, both in your organization and in Nigeria at large, we need to start with ourselves and recognize that everybody is important. Everybody is important. So having said that, remember that more people taking six days off is a sign that you have not been able to manage people in your organization. These are some of the signs. Then changes not fully implemented. Some people halfway abandon the change because the people have resisted change and you were not able to manage them. And remember, in assessments, if every year, like, let me give an instance. When I was in the bank, I always talk about my career years or my employee years or whatever. You find out that you enter the banking system, after 1 or 2 or 3 years, you see that the people you have entered bank with at head office have gotten maybe 1 or 2 promotions. Then we that are here up country, the so-called overservice supervisors will have, especially from this part of the world, they will refuse to promote you. So the people in Lagos are gaining promotion every now and then. The ones down here up country, they are not promoted because despite the fact that you're the one feeding the head office, doing all the work, you know what I mean. You understand what I mean about our people. Because Yoruba and Hausa will promote their people like this out there. And at the end of it, you'll be wondering, is it the same organization where you belong? But just some few people that think they are being wicked or mean to their subordinates, at the end of the day, the thing dovetails to you. Because if you think you're not promoting the people under you, too will not be promoted. Because as long as they are not doing well, you are not doing well. Are you understanding my argument? As long as people under you are not doing well, you yourself, you're not doing well. That is the way management sees it. You may be justifying it anyhow you like, but you find out that when promotion comes, as long as you're not pushing them up to push you, you're where you are. So it's important that we show human face to leading, especially when we want to lead for change. Then people finding work around. You see, there are some people that are always carrying their CVs in they are no more carrying it in their bag now because in their phone, smart in the wire, anywhere they are looking for a job. Do you understand? Meanwhile, they are under you. And you don't even know what is happening because they believe that the environment is not conducive. So these are some of the things you see. Then people revert to the old way of doing things. because you're not able to pull the change through, they will end up going back to do things the way you used to do before. Then the change brings totally, the change being totally scrapped. At the end of the day, everybody even forget that there was anything like then effort to make change. Then divides are created between between us and them. You'll be hearing, don't mind them. The staff now are calling the management them. They are now us. Do you understand? These are the kind of things you see. Just a typical example is many companies these days, because of global visibility, are doing ISO certification, if you have noticed. But you find out that many of them, if you go back, if not for the supervision of the SON, that the regulatory bodies that come from time to time to check what they are doing, many of the systems are not being able to cope with the processes and procedures of that certification. Because we consult from, we're going to talk with one particular hospital next week. So what are we saying? You that initiated to change, what checks and balances have you put in place to make sure? Because it's quite capital intensive. You spend all this money, and at the end of the day, the process is not being followed. And what the process does, it just helps the organization to build a system. So that if they see on the global platform, somebody say, oh, this person is ISO so and so certified, they are looking at you that if they come to do business with you, that your processes are stabilized based on what certification you say you have. So how will you feel people come and they are not seeing what you're telling them that you have or that you're doing? You lose business. That is the next thing. So having said that, what are the common traps to avoid in leading change? There are some traps that you must avoid. Number one trap is making change an option. Change is not an option because change is constant. As long as we're alive, changes must come, and change is the only thing that is constant. So don't make it an option. It is not an option, it's a must. So we must know that change is a must and not an option. Because as long as we live, oh my God, the way the world is changing and processes are changing, and what artificial intelligence is doing in this dispensation, you will know that you just have to be on your toes. Somebody like me, this social media thing, you know, we belong to the old school, but at least they try small compared to my contemporaries. My dear, social media is like carrying everything you're doing physically to online. That's what it is. So you must have full-time staff manning these things. And another leg to it is that the younger generation we're supposed to be using to run this social media, a lot of them are half-baked. If they speak grammar for you here, you don't vet it. And people go to social media and read it, they believe you're the one writing it. You understand what I mean? So you must find somebody that is competent enough to do that. If not, people like me, I say, make una wait first. Let me continue this analog before I will come and focus. You know what I mean? So change is constant. Even in the social media handle, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, every day they are updating their icons and whatever. Today you see a new pop-up. WhatsApp these days, every day they are popping up with new things. So you need to keep up. Change is constant. Then fear. What is it? The second thing we must know is that I'm not even seeing this thing is so tiny. If you cannot have my laptop, please. The second thing you need to know is that we focus on the don't focus only on the process. A lot of us focus on the process and not the human beings. Remember, if you have all your process right and you do not focus on human beings, that you will definitely run into problem. So don't focus on the process alone. Then the next one, focusing on, what is that? Can anybody read it before I open? On results. Fine. Another thing is focusing on results. You know, when you focus on results, the tendency to play down on the human aspects is there. Are we saying the same thing? Because that's what we've been talking about, that the only people that can drive this change is human beings and not the technology that you have bought. So please don't focus only on the results. You know that people have to drive that result. So make sure you focus on the people. The next one is not improving. Okay, I can read from here. Okay. Not involving those expected to implement the change. You know, that kind of thing is very cumbersome with your environment. You understand what I'm saying? Where politicians will bring people that are not qualified and put them in charge of what you know they're not competent to handle. Do you understand? At the end of the day, what do? It will fail. So if you want the change, don't fall into the trap of being political about it. Get the square pegs into the square hole and the round pegs into the round hole if you want change to happen. Then delegation outside the company. Some people say they are bringing consultants. Hey, consultants will come and do blah, 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 blah. They will go. Consultant can only come and advise you and show you what to do. They will not be there. So the people that will drive the change are the staff. So you cannot relegate the staff and outsource to consultant unless you are now employing the consultant to come and be a part of your system. Do you understand? So the people that will drive the change are the people that are doing the operations day to day, and not the touch and go kind of people like consultant that will come, you pay them heavily. The money they even pay the consultant, if they improve staff salary, it will even motivate the staff to do better than what they are giving. You know what I mean? Which most times management, you think whether they are thinking or reasoning. Then giving that is delegation outside the company. Okay, that is the last of that. So these are the traps we must avoid if we want to lead change and lead change effectively. So what are the right probing questions we must ask when we want to effect change? We must look at the costs. The cost of this change, is it commensurate with the returns I'm going to get? You must consider that. Does the benefit outweigh the costs? What is the business priority of the change? You must ask these questions. How do we implement the change? After all said and done, you find out the problem we have in Nigeria is implementation, is it not? We have beautiful policies. You see policy? Nigeria has one of the best policies in the world, but the problem is implementation. So if you want to lead change, you must think ahead. How do we implement it? The next thing we must think about is when should we implement? Because, you know, change is a process. I give you a practical example. In my university, the only university in Nigeria, UNN. So a class of 79 graduates from engineering faculty saw the rot in the university and decided to see how they can give a helping hand. Sorry. So they came together globally. They have actually been meeting for over 30 years now. The association, they've been meeting. The engineering faculty. So they now said, because of the corruption in the system, they didn't want to give anybody money because they will tell you, bring money, we'll do it. You give them money, that is university management, they will not do anything. So the people now sat down and did strategic plan for 30 years for their faculty, engineering faculty. They went to the university and found out that the equipment they met that was over 20 years during colonial era, they met and left 79. These are 79 graduates of engineering. They went like 3-4 years ago to find out that those equipment are still there, and that's what they are still teaching students with. They couldn't believe it. So they now did a strategic plan for 30 years, submitted to the university, and handled the project, did a project for them. I think a solar and some buildings or something like that. So what am I saying? They took time to plan. So right now, you go to their faculty and say, want to help the university. University will bring out all the things they have itemized. You pick and go and do. Don't give anybody money. Because you will not see that project will not see the bright of the day. So that is being strategic and knowing when to implement. You must put in work in the process for you to get, it's time up, for you to get the desired change or results you're looking for. When they finish doing that, they now said, okay, let's go to the global alumni and sell this as strategy to them and bring them together, because we'll have people. University of Nigeria has people globally, well-placed and wealthy people. But the university, if you go there, you cry. You understand? So somebody needs to do that. That change, you must be strategic in planning it and knowing when to implement. If not, you will not. So when should we implement is very, very possible, very, very necessary. What do we do if the change goes wrong? Do you have a backup? Remember, some abandon their own halfway. So in a case that something goes wrong in trying to lead the change, do you have plan B? So you must have a plan B as you're planning your change. Then there's some, you must know your why. What's happening there? It's no more responding. Use hand and push it there for me, please. No, just touch her. Good. So when you're asking the right question, you must know your why, you must know your what, and the impact that you want to achieve. So the reason for the change, there must be a reason. You're not just making change for the fun of making it. There's a reason why you want the change to happen, because there are issues you want to address. Then the what, the software, the system, everything that you need to, the process of getting it, and the impact. What are the possible negative consequences of the change? Everything that has advantage has disadvantage. So you must always know or be ahead of your obstacles or consequences. Every decision, action has consequences. So the responsibility is upon us to make sure that we are ready for them. So challenges of leading change. There are so many challenges of leading change. You get resistant to change and bureaucratic inertia. You know what I'm talking about, because NDDC is a typical case study that anybody that wants to talk about change, you know what I mean? Over the years, every year they will have budget, they will go, they will have policies changing upon change, and yet we are not seeing the change. So they are always resistant, because there are people in the system that are not ready for the new change to happen because it's favoring them. Then limited funding and resources for leadership training is another major challenge that we have in leading change. Many times, many organizations don't see the reason why they should vote certain amount of money for training. Do you understand? They see it as a waste, because it is not, is what do they call this? It's an intellectual thing. So they are not seeing physical. But at the end of the day, I tell employers that it's garbage in, garbage out is what you give. If you decide not to train your staff, you keep getting shoddy job. Because if you train your staff and they are on the same page with you, when you go to an organization that does, who has any contact, who has been to this hospital in D-Line, Meridian Hospital, is anybody using that hospital? Those people train every month, and if you see their staff, they stand out from the staff of, am I saying the right thing? Every month they train. The owner does not say, oh, because I trained last month, because faith comes from hearing, and hearing constantly. That's why I tell people, anytime you have meeting, make sure you recite your vision statement and your mission statement, and even your core values. Meridian does that. So that if you have forgotten what you stand for, that will remind you. Their the vision statement also is that life first, they must treat anybody that comes there before they ask for money. That is their practice. If you don't know, I'm not trying to market them, but I'm just telling you what they do. But many hospitals in this country today will not touch you pakam until you pay deposit, even up to 80 or 90%, or if possible 100% of what they've asked. Is it not true? So these are some of the things that we need to know, that you can't get it wrong by training your staff or by training people around you. Balancing political influences with professional leadership. We have said that before. Putting the round peg in the round hole. So we need political will to do whatever we're doing, especially in public sector that we're talking about. But then let that influence of the political will not override the professional leadership. Then Then retaining talent in the face of external opportunity. Look at the brain drain that is happening in our country today among the medical professionals. Do you understand? If only our country can focus on health care and do the right thing, do you think our people are happy to go and be second-class citizens and doing all manners of jobs abroad? So we must think of how to retain the talents that we have in the face of external opportunity. Then the plot strategy to change. Remember, we are saying we'll handle 1 or 2 models. Plot says that you must plan, you must lead, you must track and operate. And in planning, you create your vision, you light the fire, you identify values, and you define the roadmap. In leading, you establish governance, you mobilize change teams, you inspire people, and you align change culture. Because as you're planning change, these cultures must change, the ways of doing things must change. So you must inspire people and align them to the culture. Then tracking, you measure performance, you bank financial results, you monitor performance and raise the bar. Then in operating, you drive initiatives and quick wins. You hold people accountable. In this country, we don't hold anybody accountable, and that's why we're where we are. Everybody is talking and making noise, but we are not ready to pin anybody down to come and account to us. Rather, we'll be hailing them. So we must learn to hold people accountable. And even you yourself, you're supposed to have an accountability partner to hold yourself accountable for yourself. Many of us don't have that. You must have an accountability partner that will say, Tonya, you said you will do so and so in so and so more. Are you on it? Every day you be comparing notes, you and the person serves as a motivator to you. Do you understand? So accountability partner is very, very important in departments. If it's a place where a strategic management is working fine, you hold your middle management accountable to whatever you have decided to do. So you make tough decisions. Don't be everybody's pleaser. As a leader, you must take decisions. No matter who, you don't want to know whose ox is involved. So make tough decisions so that your change that you're planning to lead will go through. Then celebrate successes. Don't play down on people's successes. It's the demotivating factor. If people do well, celebrate them, reward them, then sanction the people that are not doing well so that they can, pick up. So put rewards and sanctions. Without rewards and sanctions, most systems will not work well. So having said that, how do we manage individual change with ADKAR? ADKAR says you must create awareness, number 1. That's what I was saying. Were you properly informed about this training? What kind of awareness that was created? Because at the end of the day, we'll come and talk and they're trying to make change and the awareness is not well carried out. The staff will not run with it. So awareness must be created as at when due, and after creating awareness, that's when you build the desire for all the stakeholders, then increase their knowledge, teach them what to do, and everybody is so desire to participate and support the change, knowledge on how to change. You need to train people. Anything you want to change people from what they're doing, it requires training, not just by word of mouth. Take out time like the way we are sitting out there. Tell them this is where we are coming from, this is where we are going to transit, and this is where the future stage will be. It's not just, we are making a change. They will resist it, and you will fail at the end of the day. Then, ability to implement, acquire skills and behaviors. So, that is the ADKAR acronym. Then, reinforcement to sustain the change. After creating the change, the most difficult aspect of leading the change is sustaining the change that you have led. Remember that not climbing is not the problem, but remaining on top is the problem. Because as you're leading change, you're moving from where you are to a better or higher level. So if you get to that level and you cannot sustain it, the way you come crashing down may even be worse than, you may crash slower than where you started. So you must learn to reinforce. Then the key components in leadership development. Number one is training and education. Like I said, you cannot underrate the importance of training in leadership development, the formal leadership programs and workshops, which is part of what we are doing here today. Then executive education program in public administration. We can go further than what we're doing here today. Then continuous learning through seminars and online courses. Outside what we're doing, the system should be able to have their own in-house online learning. When I was in back, we used to have that. And you're giving credit or what is it called? Outline of what you must conclude, the learning you must conclude at your level before any other appraisal. If you don't complete those, it's part of your appraisal score and you lose marks. So the system should be able to put that in place. Internal online learning. Then mentorship and coaching. I don't know how many organizations these days coach and mentor their team members or staff. It's rare, but when we were growing up, I became a chartered stockbroker early in life because when I entered that organization, the stockbroking and finance company in those days, 1993 or thereabout, the MD spotted me, saw how smart I was, and started mentoring me and encouraged me to go and take the exam as young as I was. And because gave me books to read, every week he would give me a book to read, you finish and do, what is it called? Book review, give him reports on what. So you don't see such, telephone these days will not even allow the children to even listen to you. Everybody's pinging and pressing on the phone. So when these things are lacking, you find out that you don't get the best out of those people we are trying to lead. But because we know better, we should equally find a way to create awareness and instill some of these values. So preparing an emerging leader with experienced mentors, providing coaching for skill enhancement, and encouraging peer-to-peer network. There are so many things happening online. I tell you honestly, it's ignorance that is keeping many of us down. Because if you go into the only university that does not sleep, University of YouTube, it doesn't ever go off unless you don't have light or you don't have data. But the university is on 24/7. There's nothing you will not find in YouTube. They may not be organized, but if you decide to organize them yourself, you can even, without paying, the only thing you pay is data and your light. So let's try and mentor people. And is it Miles Monroe that said that the greatest part of the richest part of the world is the graveyard? Because a lot of us have died without relinquishing the knowledge that we have to other people. So let's try and mentor people and open ourselves up and replicate ourselves in the system. Next one, key component is experiential learning. Job rotation across different departments. Recently, my daughter was complaining, say, "Mommy, the department where I want to work, they say I need to." I say, "Come, you're just a fresh graduate from, was it May? This is January. May last year I went for. Is it January? This is a new year, right? May last year I went for a graduation." I said, at this stage you are in life, you should be very glad to move across the departments in your organization because it's a learning period for you. Then as you begin to climb on your profession, you find out that you become supervisor and manager to all the people. If you have not passed through the departments, how will you understand what happens there? So let's encourage ourselves. There are some people, they will just be, bam, they throw them, promote them and put them on the high seat. They will be sitting like this up there. What is happening below them, they don't know. So we must learn to do job rotations in department, participate in cross-functional teams, and simulate exercise and crisis management trainings. Then the next is ethical and value-based leadership. promoting integrity, transparency, and accountability. You cannot get it wrong. Without integrity, transparency, and accountability, the ethics and the value of that company, your culture will not stand out. Then embedding public service values in leadership curricula. You know, we have all these public service rules and all that. How much of it is being communicated effectively in your process of working in the organization? Then you must encourage ethical decision making through case studies. When there are challenges, let's try and find out people that have gone through such challenges, how they solve their problem, and see whether you can borrow a leaf from it. Let everything we are doing be very professional and very ethical. Then the next thing we must consider is performance management and feedback. Regular assessment and 360-degree feedback. John Maxwell came up with 360 degrees leadership. For banking, my bank started the assessment, the 360 degrees appraisal feedback. You appraise me as your supervisor, I will appraise you as my boss. Do we do that? And if we do that, will the bosses not victimize their subordinates because maybe they would have pointed out one or two weaknesses? You understand what I'm saying? So anybody that is pointing out your weakness to me likes you, because not everybody that is bold enough to tell somebody you're not doing well. Anybody that is bold enough to tell you that you're not doing well, you can quarrel with the person, but when you go back in your closet, appreciate that person. You understand what I'm saying? So the 360 degrees helps us to know how well we are doing. I'm very, very lucky because my dad ran a very democratic home. When my dad, as we are growing up, every 2nd of January, he will call us family meeting, he will bring out his book and reel out all your offenses. He records everybody's offenses for the year. And he'll reel out all your offenses for the year. When he finish, he will tell you to defend yourself. If after, he will not tell us that we should tell him his own where he didn't do well too. That's how I was brought up. So I had the opportunity to be bold, you know, to speak up from childhood, which was what my father tried, because we were 6 girls, and he tried to let us not be intimidated by men. You understand? So he was doing that to boost our confidence and all that. So at the end of the day, it is very, very important. Anyway, he didn't well, we equally tell him. So when I come out, I see senior people telling me, you're not afraid. Why are you looking at me eyeball to eyeball? You're too bold, this small girl. Because that's how I was. If I could talk to my father in those days, no, they don't talk to parents. Parents don't give such opportunity. Never gave such opportunity, many parents, to their children in those days. But I was privileged to have that kind of upbringing. So it made me to, if I could talk to my father, who are you when I cannot talk to? Do you understand? So those are some of the things we must learn to get positive feedback. Very, very important. You may not, you know, feedback that are not good is never palatable to anybody. But at the end of the day, forget the manner and the way the person said it. What the person has said, is there any element of truth? If there's an element of truth, please, let's go and address it so that we can lead properly. Then leadership competence framework, we must have it for every organization where you're leading change. Then recognition and reward system for effective leadership should be put in place. Then succession planning. Key leadership component, leadership development components. Succession planning. Many of the organizations don't plan for succession. In short, some people, when you tell them it's their retirement time, they will abuse you and abuse you. Many of them will go and doctor their ages. I don't know where I went for a function, was it last year? One of these ministries. And come and see this woman, I'm sure she's over 80. And she's the PAMSEC. I said, this woman don't need to retire now. Do you understand? Because they have doctored their age at the point of entering into that service. So even when they have retired, they don't want to go and give room for younger ones. Please, let's plan succession, identifying high potential employees for leadership roles, providing clear career pathway for advancement. What NDDC is doing for you by doing this is providing career advancement. But I know that many people don't attend these trainings. And for me, I'm looking for online, offline places to attend, because there is no training you will not go home with one thing. You must learn something unless you're not serious. So anywhere there's training, I like to attend. Even those that I know that I'm better than them, there is nonsense, there is sense in every nonsense. Do you understand? So please, let's not take this training and not just attending. Try and go home and try to see how you can implement what you have learned. But that is the only way. Hearing is not the problem. Is doing. Is in doing that you master what you have learned. And if you are not doing, it's as good as you've not heard. So providing clear career path for advancement and implementing leadership pipeline to ensure organizational continuity. Key components of leading change. You must be visionary. If you must lead change, you must be a visionary leader. If you're not visionary, if you're not seeing the end from, you cannot lead. So when there are obstacles that people are resisting, because you're seeing the end from where you are, it moves you to continue. Do you understand? Because they are not seeing what you're seeing. A visionary leader, most times, people in your team are not seeing what you're the only one seeing it. It takes them time before they'll come to terms with what you're saying. And somehow, I have this gift that if you meet me and tell me something, or when I see somebody, I can predict something that will happen. I may not know the exact thing that will happen, but I just have this natural instinct to say, this thing will go wrong or this thing will not go wrong. Do you understand? So that way, it has equally helped me. So you must be visionary. Make sure that you're seeing the end of whatever you're doing from the beginning, so that when there are obstacles and resistance from here and there, because there must be obstacles, that result is what will keep driving you. So communicate your vision effectively to all stakeholders. If you don't do that, you will not succeed. I was asking question, what change are you people? Have they communicated the change they want to make in your organization that make communicated to this training? They wanted you to know how to position yourself. Oh, sorry. How to position yourself for the training. If they have not, then there's a problem. Sorry, my dear, can somebody help me there? There's a problem. So if there is a change that, sorry, thank you, leadership of NDDC wants to make, and they want this training to be able to position you to accept it, it must be clearly communicated. We want to change from doing things like this to doing this thing like this, and before then they'll bring people to talk to you like this. You already prepare your mind. Oh, you know, by the time we finish talking, but most times we'll walk from back to front in most public sectors. They will not prepare you. They will have finished doing the change, then they are forcing the change down your throat. Is it not true? Am I saying the right thing? They are forcing it down our throat, not only in public sector, many organizations. So that's why people really resist, because you have not carried them along from day one. If you did, even if it's 50%, we get 50% results. So having said that, we must be visionary. A non-visionary leader cannot lead change, because by the time you meet obstacles, you just give up and become like the people you want to lead. So learn to be visionary. And being visionary is understanding your why you're going into that change, and making others to understand why and how to do. So the second one is change management strategies. You must, what strategies, processes that you're going to use to implement the change. Implementing structure framework for change, encouraging stakeholders engage and buy in, managing resistance to change through effective communication. Everything is about communication. Just like they said, somebody can tell you to go to hell, and you'll be smiling to hell. While you tell another person go to hell, the person say, me and you go reach hell today. Do you understand? So the way you communicate these things matter a lot, so that people can get a buy. The innovative problem-solving solution, fostering a culture of continuous improvement, encouraging creative thinking and experimentation, utilizing data-driven decision-making process. Don't just make decisions for hearsay. Let there be a systematic way of collecting data. What has happened through your assessments. Like you can do questionnaire to your colleagues and tell them don't put your name, because at times when you say put your name, people will not want to say what they feel like saying because they don't want to be victimized. Let there be no name, no contact. Tell me, so put up the questionnaire. From there, you'll be able to know areas that you need to change. Maybe it's even the place you think you're doing so well. By the time people give you feedback, you feel that you now know that, look, I thought I was doing well in this area. Then with this feedback, now I need to focus on this area to improve. Then the next is building resilient workforce. Providing training and department development for adaptability. For you to lead a change, people must adapt as to be able to sustain that change. So we must provide the training and development to help them do that. Enhancing emotional intelligence and leadership resilience. Leadership, you know, every leader is a manager, but not every manager is a leader. You know that? There's a difference between leadership and management. So every leader is a manager, but not every manager that is a leader. So most times, you will be forcing a manager to be a leader. For a manager to become a leader, you have to go through training and personal development. But a leader has passed through that process and understands where he is as a leader. So he did a lot of emotional intelligence, enhancement, and all that. Creating support system for employees during transition. It's not easy to transit from the current state to the future state. So the system must be able to understand with the staff or the employees that they are grappling with the change. So you're not too hard on them. You give them some soft landing or some motivations to make them imbibe and carry on with the change you're about to do. Then the next thing is the same ethical and value-based leadership. Another one is performance management and feedback. So those are the key. Then sustaining organizational renewal. For you to sustain this, you must identify emerging trends and adapting strategies accordingly. Every day, new things are emerging. If you close your eyes and wake up, what a typical example is Lagos. If you go to a street in Lagos, especially around that lake area, if you go there today, tomorrow you come there, or next week you come there, you see a new structure, totally different place. That's how it is in the technological advancement in this season. Every day things are emerging. So if you close your eyes and open, you see new things. So you must position yourself to those emerging trends. Then encourage collaboration and knowledge sharing. A lot of us are very selfish with our information. And until you share knowledge, you may never know what you get from the person you're even holding. Maybe the person you're holding your own obsolete knowledge is even more advanced. So collaboration is key in this season if you must lead change. Because so many things are happening. That's why you see, like in our crypto or whatever, digital space palace, what they are building now is communities. You hear communities, that's what you see now. And those communities that are collaborating. If you want to come and sell a product to my community, I'll tell you, we must exchange. Do you understand? Collaboration is key. That's why people will be in US or be in China or any other part of the world. They are doing business here. They have representative. When people call them, they say, no, we have a representative in Nigeria. Go through a representative. Do you understand? So you must collaborate. Nobody knows it all. You need collaboration, networking. Your network is your net worth. Long-term success. We mustn't plan only for short term. We must plan for long term. So strategies to enhancing, leveraging technology for visual learning and training, strengthening partnership with academic institutions and private sector like we're doing here today. Institute of Strategic Management organizing this. Yeah, they are partnering with you guys. Then encouraging diversity and industry inclusivity in leadership roles. And the last but not least, implementing adaptive leadership approaches to address evolving public needs. You know, in this country, we've left what was supposed to be doing our public sector and doing so many other things. And where public sector is working well, we find out that they're always interested in how to solve public needs. That is things that all of us are common to everybody, like water, light, school, all those things, hospitals. If only our government can address these things. If they want to carry all the billions to wherever, no money of us will not bother. But because these things are not functional, that's why we are complaining, it's hitting us most. Hospitals, schools, road, all those basic amenities, light, gas. Of course, abroad, if you walk into any house, you won't see any cylinder. You won't see generator. You won't see, because these things have been provided. They are all public needs. And that's what public service institutions should be doing. So this is the checklist for the way forward. If you must lead change, make sure you have this checklist. Define the project vision and key outcomes. Use vision and goals to determine the messaging strategy. Create a communication plan. Communication is key in leading change. If you don't communicate well, I'm sorry, you cannot make the kind of change you want. Then identify and engage stakeholders. Identify and engage change champions. You must have change champions. Because many are called, but few are chosen. There are people that will quickly embrace what you're saying because they are seeing what you're seeing. While others are dragging their feet, give them, make them champions, and let them help you to move the change through. Then create thorough plan for testing. You must test. Don't just implement like that. Most times you test the change you want to make and see how people will resist or how people will react. Even from there, you can equally get some other inputs to adjust some of the things you have. Then use training for instruction and for marketing the new system. All right. So having said that, in conclusion, leading change and organizational renewal is not all about process. It's about people. The success of any change initiative depends on understanding human behavior. Remember, human being is the key word here. Building trust and creating an environment that encourages growth and adoption. Then leading change and organizational renewal is only embraced by stakeholders with the right mindset. Remember I talked about a mindset when I was talking. Stakeholders with the right mindset of being what? Teachable and coachable in the process of change. If you meet such people that have fixed mindset that don't want to be taught and don't want to be coached, please find a way of quarantining them one side so that they will not be like AGK, my former place, to be poisoning the mind of other people that are supposed to embrace the change. So having said that, I want to say that finally that leading change and organizational renewal in a public service organization is essential for building resilient, efficient, and innovative institutions. And by investing in structural or structured training programs, the kind of thing we're doing here today, fostering ethical leadership and creating continuous learning opportunities, public service organizations can prepare future leaders to meet social changes effectively. So thank you very much. And I don't know how much time we'll have, but remember, we may divide ourselves into 2 or 3 and just do this small exercise and present before we. You can have a screenshot of it or I can leave it here.
Okay, so do we want to do this case study now? Are you ready to do the case study?
Do it after now. No, I know them. What will we carry them with?
Okay, see what we do. See what we do. Let's break it into groups. Even if we are not doing it, that will be the first thing we present before we start the next session tomorrow. What? We do it now?
Let's do it now.
Huh?
What's the time?
Tomorrow morning.
Hey.
No, let's divide the group.
Just two groups or 3.
No, 3 groups.
1, 2, 3. People are more.
So take the screenshot. Can we go back to the slide? Go back to the last slide, the case study, please.
Case study.
So let's know. If you don't come tomorrow, I'll know because of this case study. That's why you didn't come.
I won't be here tomorrow.
No, they will bring it. We'll present it and send you the video. Okay, you want to interact with it?
Yes. Now.
Okay, so let's do that briefly, quickly, so that we take.
As I identify the strategic challenges that require urgent solution in your department and organization at large, recommend the appropriate leadership development and changes that are required to address the very simple within 5 minutes. 3 groups. But these people are more. You can just add. It doesn't matter. It's a collective. Your department is a collective organizational. So when you bring from your department, this one you bring, and you know the general one, just put it and profile solution. That's all. You understand what I'm saying? First, you are one organization. That's what we're saying. From your department, the department does stay to your organization. If you don't have your department, there's an organizational one, is it not? So it was equally saying in center. If you saw organization, some people will keep quiet, they won't want to say what is happening in their department, do you understand? But the department is bigger than makes up the organization. So whether it's a personal or a departmental organization, let's just do and get done with it.
Which department is leaving now? Somebody leaving. Hope it's not the department that doesn't want to. Okay. So can we do that quickly? 5 minutes.
Just 5 minutes. You already saw everything have been discussed. What you need to solve the. They are all my own leadership. My own package. Oh, no problem. You can only do. Are we together? I thought by now.